How are you all? Cards this morning, and I thought I should make some videos again. This is if you don't know why I'm into the tarot. I've been into tarot forever. It's because it's a phenomenal tool to help your brain navigate life and deal with situations and make calculated risks better. And I don't necessarily use it for divination. I do to a degree, but to me that's a secondary aspect for me personally. I'm not against divination, not at all. But for me, that's a secondary aspect. The primary aspect is the psychological nature of the tarot, and one of the problems with the tarot is there's an enormous amount of guff out there. The websites tend to be too positive, new agey, female focused, and fluffy, and avoiding difficulties in particular symbolism, and therefore they're dishonest. Now I have a tarot card symbolism playlist that's 10 years old now, believe it or not, and that's how long it's been running on YouTube. I'll put the link at the bottom of this when the video is over. But the tarot deck I use is the Heathen Otherworld. Well, it was called the Heathen Otherworld when I bought it about 5 years ago, and it's a company in America who make limited edition tarot decks. Very beautiful artwork. I think they've re-released this, and it has a different font and a few other artwork changes. I think they call it the pagan otherworld now. If you Google, you'll find it. But they're soft, painterly like images. Now today I'm going to talk about the aces, the four ace cards: the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. And in a specific manner to how these are gendered. Now this is the thing you don't hear much about. That just like everything else in life, there's things that apply to male and female. Well, the tarot is the same. And as a whole, predominantly, the aces in the four aces in the deck of the tarot are predominantly favor men, in that they're generally, in terms of symbolism and meaning, better for men than they are for women. And this is something that never comes up. What may apply in a symbol may be very positive to a man, but they don't write this down in the books or on the websites and tell you what doesn't apply to a woman. It could be the complete reverse. And generally, the aces apply to men. They just do. Now, there are like, just like the swords generally favor men. The sword suite in the tarot and are bad for women. Women are generally favored by the cups, the suite of cups. Men are generally disadvantaged by that. So it's very important to read, if you're reading for a male or a female, to take these things into consideration. It's quite stupid, actually, how they're not taken seriously, and they're important. And they often lead to fatal mistakes. Now, I'll start with the first ace, and this is the Ace of Swords, okay? Now, the Ace of Swords generally means dynamic action, taking decisions forward. Let's move, let's go, let's roll, let's do this. A decision that requires a coldness. That's why this card is associated with the North and the icy world. It's the cold, surgical knife of the North. It generally is to do with males, favoring males. Now, that's the card. When a man gets that, it's telling the man, make that decision. As hard as cold as it is, make that decision. Go for it. This opportunity has arisen, go for it. But you notice, because the card is represented with coldness, the icy north, it's not an emotional card. And this is the mistake. When women get this card, they read the websites and they look at the traditional meanings of the tarots and they say, I'll go for it. I'll go for it. I'll do what it says. But they will go in with an emotional energy or an emotional drive. accomplishment. That's not what this sword is about. This is the knife of the surgeon who's cutting out a tumor from a child's brain and has to literally go into a state of dissociation in order to switch off his emotions and just get down to the business of doing the operation. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do the operation because he'd be thinking to himself, I hold the fate of this child and therefore the happiness of the child's parents in my hand. But I must do this. I have to do this operation. And that's why it's a male card. Now, when a female gets this card and it's to do with going into a relationship, and she says, this is what's telling me, go for it, do it, be with this man, she is making a fatal error. Because he's holding the sword, not her. And therefore, she's as much being goaded and pressured into this as being led along by the dynamic energy of the sword striking to the north. I'll give you an example. This is the sword that he's holding, and he's determining the relationship. It goes through the crown, which could also be seen as the wedding ring or the engagement ring. Now, this would be the catastrophe of a woman suddenly rushing into a guy, in a relationship with a guy she barely knows, okay? An arranged marriage is another one that would come into this kind of card, right? The man holds the thing, holds the power structure there. The card itself is cold, it's brutal, so it's not about love. Now, and especially if it comes with cards, even on the positive side of the reading, such as the Lovers, it's deadly, it's a mistake. This is a fatal mistake for a woman to make if this card comes up in a romantic, about a decision regarding a romance. It's fatal. Now, think of the sword in the hand of the man being Anne Boleyn's head, being chopped off by the executioner sent by Henry VIII. And you see what I mean. It's the relationship is being rushed along by a male. It's being rushed along. You better it'll be the kind of relationship where you must do it, you must do it, you must do it, you must do it. He'll be saying this, and she'll go, okay, I'll do it, and bury all her other feelings to do it. Maybe regarding just kids already or things like that. If she's in a relationship already and she does this, runs off with a fancy man, or some guy who kind of weaseled her way into her life, this is a catastrophe. This is absolute catastrophe. For a man, it's the other way around. It's a way of saying, okay, I'll move forward with this relationship with this woman, but I'll have to make cold decisions here. I have to work hard, be strict in myself, give up drinking with my friends, going out with the boys, and disciplining myself, going from a boy to become a man. So discard, and that's also a very flawed thing as well, but it can help some guys. But this is also, if it's coupled with things like addictions, it's also badly. This is the needle of the heroin addict. Is the relationship an addiction that's being, a quick addiction that's being serviced, or is it something worth going for? This will become the sword of Damocles for a woman. In every case, every reading I've ever done for a woman on this, I would never say it, I would just say it to them, but I wouldn't tell them how to live their lives. And every time they went for it, they found themselves becoming Anne Boleyn. Okay? And it was a catastrophic error. They would do things like they would isolate their family and friends and stuff to be with this loser. That's very common. Now, the Ace of Cups. Now, this is one of the ones, although the four aces are predominantly male, Cups is one of the ones that's not overly male. It's a bit kinder to females. Now, this is a card commonly associated with emotions, right? Now, contrary to what you would read on many websites, men do have rich and deep emotions, and they do hurt badly. So that you think of a man at the cup, the way that the cup is finely balanced. You see that? It's finely balanced. So this is when a man gets this. It says, if you're in love or something like that, this can easily tip over and spill out those emotional contents. And so that's why the man has to be like the sword of the north. The contact, because when men are hurt, they hurt much deeper than women. That's something I tell you for a fact. Now, this is also associated with pregnancy, because the cup is the cup of fertility, and the cup of hormones and motherhood, mother's milk, and all this stuff, right? And so, if this is a card that can mean an impulsive pregnancy in a woman. Like, I get this, oh no, I got this card. Oh, it says I should have a baby, No, that's not the one to have a baby with, really. Because not all babies are conceived in love. And not all babies are conceived with, with the absolute promise of everything will be all right. So, again, the cup shakes, okay? The cup can rattle. And the cup dries up, remember that. So a man going, this will be a whole thing. A woman, a woman will see this, and she'll be like, it'll be a romantic reading, and she goes, "Oh, my cup overfloweth with love for this man," right? But what happens to a cup? Its contents empty, right? So to if the man is damaged by the cup falling over, the woman is damaged by the man emptying the cup, drinking it, and having no romantic love left. And this is the card that tells you that real love and romance are two different things, okay? And this thing suits a man better than a woman, because a woman generally, I'll give you generally, I'm not saying superficially in love and things like this, but they tend to go in deeper and quicker. But they have to understand that cup empties, okay? A man knows that cup empties, but he'll try to keep it steady in his hand so it doesn't fall over, okay? So this card can be better for a woman, but it still favors a man, okay, in that sense. Now, the Ace of Pentacles, or the Ace of Coins, or whatever you want to call it, the discs is what you want to call them, okay? Pentacles in this case, we'll deal with it. Now, this is associated with money, but not necessarily. It's associated with gifts as well. So somebody gives you a free gift, okay? Let's talk about this in the concept of a gift. Someone gives you a free gift, right? Okay. When a man gets this, he's reminded that he's worked to get this far. And this is like his reward. This is a ship coming in, okay? When a woman gets this card, it's a superficial offering, and she'll be made to pay for it later. She will not get this for free. She may get it beforehand, but she may maybe hand it to her as a gift, and it seems fantastic. But my Jesus, she'll be made to pay for this down the road, where the man has already paid for it. So you see how the difference in the male and female is here? In the male, this is his boat coming in. He's paid for this already. The female, the payment comes after. So here's the gift. Now, what's all this also comparable to? Say someone gives you a free gift. It comes to a man, it won't be a free gift. It's an earned gift. But to a woman, it will come with provisos that she may not necessarily be aware of up front. But it's like, here's my free gift to you, my dear. Oh, thank you very much. Down the road, she realizes she's paying a heavy fucking price for this, okay? So, you see, it favors the man because he's already worked, he's already sacrificed and worked. His ship is coming in. To a female, she's got an upfront present, but it's not really a present. You see, it's negative to the woman again. Now, what's this also suggestive of? The ring, right? The engagement of the wedding ring. Now, this would be the kind of woman who wants to get engaged just to get engaged. So, the type of bitches we all know that, like, I used to work with a few of them and all this, that the first thing they do is show the ring, the fucking ring. Like, they finally have meaning to their lives. That's what that is. The ring is more important than the relationship. Likewise, the wedding reception is more important than the marriage. And in both cases, these will be catastrophe for these women. Again, like the Ace of Swords one, it's about don't rush into relationship commitments really fast, because again, it's money, it's contracts, it's legal agreements, it's things like that. And that's, this for a man would be something like to think about, if he was, say he was marrying a woman and he was doing readings for her and constantly getting this one, he needs to think serious about something like a prenuptial agreement, or better still, not getting married at all. Just like, just don't get married. You can love someone forever without having actually married them. So that's that thing. Now, the thing is, you see that the planet Venus in there, the pentagram, Lucifer, that's also about, you must have clarity with this. So if someone gives you a load of money, the first question, if you're a woman, you should ask yourself is, okay, what are the catches? When it comes to a man, the first question you should ask yourself is, have I really earned this? And in many cases, the men, they have, and the women will earn it, but down the road. That's an important one. And finally, the Ace of Wands, or the Ace of Batons, or the Ace of Clubs, whatever you want to call it. Now, this is another one favorable to a male. Getting your point across, getting information out there, establishing your stance, it's the strength of a man. But in a woman, what's that? You're in a relationship with a fella is probably going to beat you up, or he is beating you up, or also he's sexually cold. He's just wham bam thank you ma'am. On the very negative end of this, when I first started doing readings years and years ago, after a French lady taught me taught me about the tarot, this was a card I got with a woman I used to work with all the time. You know why women are tarot mad, and back then especially, because there was very few fellas reading the tarot, and that would do it for free. Like I mean, I've never charged anyone for a tarot reading; it's always for free. And the club, she kept getting it and getting it and getting it, and I said there had to be some male in your past that had a negative event that's it's think of that as thou shall not pass. And then she one day came into me and says, I think I know what it is. When she was 19, she was drunk with a guy and he forced himself on her, and she had difficulty committing to men, seeing men as being anything but thugs ever since then. And so that represented almost the penis of a sexual assault. And it's also the wife beaters card. If you get that, you're getting this is the one that the wife beater gets. The fella batters women around. This is the card he gets. I'm talking about, like with other cards, it doesn't go on its own. This is just it's the significator of the main card. But this is also the card of the wind that blows through town and moves out again. And that's a man, isn't it? Like, that's a man. The Rolling Stone gathers no moss. Men, that song, the old R&B song, I'm the type of guy who is always on the run. Wherever I lay my head, that's my home. Well, that's that card for a fella. But that's not good for a girl who falls in love with the fella that's like that, because he moves on to the next town. So you see, it favors men better. It favors men better. And also you'll see the leaves falling from it. And the leaves are like, that's movement. That we're on this being shook. It's being shaken. This kind of thing. So it's constantly moving around. So that's the wands. You see, the wands are very much more for men than for women. And generally, they're quite, even the one that you think would be really positive for women, like the Ace of Cups especially, it's not good at all, really, in lots of ways. Now, again, you don't take these cards as individuals. You read them according to the spread on the deck. Now, I have a 7-card spread. I promise I will make a decent video about it one day with good quality graphics and stuff. But my general attitude is, any more than 7 cards, the spread can mean anything. Like, some of these 32-card spreads are ridiculous. 48-card spreads. These are ridiculous. I mean, there's so many symbols on the table. Now, 3 cards isn't enough. Though 3 cards can be kind of handy for quick decisions. I find that sometimes the 3 cards are good for quick decisions and quick analysis. But for a deeper dive, 7 is fine. 7 cards are fine, with the one significator or major card at the top, with the negatives and positives below that. But remember, all cards, this is one of the reasons I don't do upside down readings, is because all cards come with positive and negative attributes. So therefore, this could be positive with the right kind of cards around it. Say, a man going into business. So you get the, the Knight of Wands and this kind of thing, and the Seven of Wands, and then, like those ones. If the Ten of Wands is there, it says go into business, but you're going to be working very hard, but you'll have to carry on, that kind of thing, uh, where, in the sword suite, it's brutal on the men. That's why they show the man in the coffin, the knight is dead knight, and also the men are always they're always in bits. The men, and that, the only one I can think of is the one where the woman, I think it's the Eight of Swords, where the woman is held in hostage, but all the others are. That's the only one of the suite that's negative for women. So you see, but so that's just how it is, like every aspect in life. Certain sports are, relevant to women, other sports are relevant to men, but that doesn't mean that it's just how it is. That likewise, this is gendered up. It's the same reason why the entire major arcana, when the clock strikes midnight, the Wheel of Fortune, it falls into the feminine aspect. That's just how it is. So that's very important from now on. Okay, you don't worry about the major arcana, and don't worry about the suites, but just know that the suite of swords generally favors men, or generally deeply applies to men, in that sense. So, but in terms of, there's more to be gained from it. It's the warrior's card, and you'll die a hero. At the very worst, you die a hero and you're reborn. But the aces generally favor men. Always remember that the aces generally favor men. And women who pull up the aces and they go on the sites and they go the Ace of Swords, move ahead, embrace change, go for it. I got news for you. You're fucking going to ruin yourself. Okay, you're going to be Anne Boleyn and your head will be on the chopping block with this guy in no time. It won't be worth it. You get other cards for that will just, I'll talk about that in the suites and in the other cards, and the same with the women. If you get this is not a free gift. You will pay for this, and what you will pay for this will have interest way above and beyond what you thought you were getting for nothing. Okay, the Cups one, yeah, it seems so female friendly, fertility and everything like that, but cups run dry. Okay, they run dry. For the men cups don't generally run dry. They can refill them. And the clubs, a great one for a man going into business, doing his thing. But for a woman to see this especially with a man, beware, because he could be a thug. And like I said, these are the worst two cards for any woman going into a new relationship to get. The worst two. They're not saying move ahead, embrace change, go with the wind, go with the force, because that's not how women function. It's how men function. And that's why a woman is making a fatal flaw if she applies the meanings of the tarot aces to her as they're written out and generally discussed, because they favor men. Okay, take care. Bye.